Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's webinar. Today we are talking about commencement, and my name is Mikkel St. Germain. I am the Director of Parent and Family Engagement here at Brown University, and I'm so excited to have this conversation with you all today. I want to welcome everyone who is participating and has been with us since their students first walked through the Van Wickle gates. This is your graduation too from our webinar series, so welcome to everyone. And if it's your first time, I'm so glad you could join us for this. If you have questions as we go along, there is a Q&A tool at the bottom of the screen, and we will try and get to as many as possible. Just like all of our webinars, we're going to keep the information very general. So if you have very specific questions, we'll ask you to direct those to either family@brown.edu, that's my office, or the commencement office, which is commencement@brown.edu. And I will put that information into the chat in a little bit as well. We did receive lots of questions in advance of today's webinar, and we used that to craft our discussion. So we hope we'll cover many of the things that you've already sent to us. There are closed captions available today, and you can see those by hitting the CC button at the bottom of your screen. And Rachel will be doing live captions for us today. And then we also have Spanish language translation. So what this means is everybody on the webinar, I'm going to ask you to go to the bottom of your screen and pick either English or Spanish on the translation button. So that way we can all speak to each other. And we'll put that in the chat as well. But it's very important for everybody to pick the language that they would prefer to hear today's presentation. This session is being recorded, and we'll post it to the Parent and Family webinar page a little bit later after we have it edited and ready to go. And finally, at the end of this webinar, like we always do, we will send you a 3-question survey, and this will help us to improve the information that we get to you. So I really, it'd be very much appreciated for folks to fill that out at the end of this webinar. Now, before I introduce our fantastic guest, I would like to start with a video that will hopefully get us excited with the sights and sounds of commencement. So Kay, do you want to run that video reel for our audience before we do the slides? Thanks. All right, so I hope that got you in the mood to talk about commencement, and you're in luck because today we have with us my wonderful colleague from Event Strategy and Management. Meg Silvestri is the Associate Director of Event Strategy and Management and is the command central for all the logistics. So Meg, why don't you kick us off?
Thank you, Mikkel. I love that video. I get goosebumps when I hear it, and so I hope everyone enjoyed that. Kay, next slide, please. So again, I know Mikkel already introduced me, but it's Meg Silvestri, Associate Director with Event Strategy and Management. I'm really excited to be here with you all and to be able to connect over one of my very favorite and cherished events, which is Commencement and Reunion Weekend. I want to start with going through first a weekend overview. I do have a lot of information, so again, anything detailed or if we can help navigate, use the commencement@brown.edu email address, and we have a team behind there who can help assist. Next slide, please, Kay. So the weekend at a glance, just to kind of keep in mind, these are the top flagship events that you'll be hearing about probably from your students. the most. But just keep in mind, we do have about 150 events, maybe even more, that are happening over the entire weekend. But I just wanted to kind of extract these out and talk a little bit more about these today. So at a high level, we're looking at Friday, which really kicks off everything with the campus dance. Saturday, we have forums that happen throughout the day. We have our baccalaureate service, which is a senior milestone. We also have the master's ceremony. I like to put that in there because it is another really large event that happens on the college green. And on Sunday, this is the biggest day, especially for undergraduate families, which involve the procession, the college ceremony, the university ceremony, and the departmental ceremonies. Next slide, please. So before I go into talking about each event in a little bit more detail, I do want to talk about what event access and ticketing looks like this year. Okay, next slide, please. So 2026, we have established a really big change where we are going to be ticketing commencement, especially when it comes to the college green access. So I'm sure many of you know all about the main green and the college green, but it's a very, very large space. It's 3 huge quads that are in the hub of the city and in the middle of the campus. And this is where a lot of the large events are happening over the weekend. So we have moved to a ticketing system for this space. The ticket itself this year is going to be a smart wristband system. So it's a simple one-stop shop. You can have it on all weekend long, and that will be your ticket. So there won't be any paper tickets or any QR codes that you have to worry about. You should just have your wristband, and that's going to help you just get access to where you need to go. We put this in place this year because we really want to keep the college green quads reserved exclusively for our graduates and their invited guests, such as yourselves and families. So this is so the college green stays comfortable and reserved for you all. I think what's really important to note here is how it all kind of comes into play. So your student will be required to register for themselves and for their guests. So this happens all through the student, not through the families and guests and parents. They will also be required to pick up those wristbands before the weekend happens, and then they will be responsible to give those to all of their guests. So I just have a little note here just to slip it on before you leave home. Again, try to have it on all weekend, and that will probably guarantee the most ease for you while you navigate the college green. Next slide, please. So entering the college green, I just want to point out that this is really geared towards Sunday. So if you remember at the the events at a glance slide, that Sunday was really a stacked schedule there. And so I really want to focus on entering the college green because it's a very, very early day and it's a bit of a long day. So I want to talk a little bit about how to enter into it and to make your experience at ease. So gates do open at 7 a.m. I know that probably sounds very, very early. I know it sounds early for me. But they do open at 7 a.m. We like to do this because we like to give everyone enough time to come in, find a seat, get settled in, and not to feel too rushed. Wristbands are required for all guests ages 5 and up. So that's something that your student will have to take into account, and they'll be told how to do that. Again, registration, the graduates must reserve them for themselves and their tickets, for their guests in the ticketing portal for the wristbands. That portal plans to open up very, very soon. It's the end of March, it's supposed to be happening right in the beginning of April. And we do suggest that they have everything done by May 1st. So good to kind of keep those dates in mind as you're talking with your graduate. Just a couple little tips. I want to mention that even though you have access to the green, you are able to leave and come and go as you please. But just as a little bit of a tip, we do have all concessions and hopefully all needs met on that large space. So we have concessions, we have refillable water stations, we have restrooms, info tables. There's also commencement group there that sells some, commencement items and brown gear. So everything is really there in that space to help you enjoy the event. However, if you decide to leave, just know that when you do come back in, you are going to have to go back through the queuing and scanning process. So just something to be mindful of. Another little tip is that there will be about 6 entrances to get to the College Green. The main one, though, is on Thayer Street via Simmons Quad, which at this moment may not mean a whole lot to everybody, but there will be some maps available on the website to help direct everyone to this area. Next slide. So now I want to get into the closer look at commencement events, all the fun stuff and my favorite stuff here. So next slide, Kay. So Friday's tradition, campus dance. Some of you may have heard about this. This is something very, very special. It's I get goosebumps just talking about it, but basically it's campus dance. Everyone's invited, families, alums, graduates, faculty, anybody can come purchase tickets for this event. So you can imagine, very, very big event. It happens pretty late, so it's a late event, 9 p.m. to 1 in the morning. So you're dancing and having a good night all night long, and that is that Friday evening. Next slide. Saturday is a little bit more relaxing, I would say. So hopefully it gives you some time to recover from getting in and enjoying campus dance. And so Saturday we have the commencement forums, which again, this is for everyone. Happens all at various times, starting at 9 in the morning. Multiple ones happen at the same time slot, so there's a lot to choose from. Tickets are not required, so it's very easy, if you will. Seating is first come, first seated. And these forums are announced in late April on the commencement website. These forums also include our honorary degree recipients who will be speaking. We also have forums led by faculty, and they talk about their research and initiatives and really, really interesting stuff. So next slide. Saturday's senior milestone is the baccalaureate service. At 1 o'clock that afternoon, we do have a baccalaureate service that's reserved for seniors only. This event is somewhere where it is optional for seniors to attend. They come to this First Baptist Church, which is where the event is happening, and they are there to really reflect on their last 4 years or so at Brown University. So it's really a kickoff for them for the next day, but it's just a moment for them to settle in, take a moment. It's very celebratory, but also very reflective. It is a multi-faith ceremony, and it incorporates a lot of student performers as well. I think what's important to note is that the keynote address, our big speaker and their message will be delivered at this baccalaureate service. So the nice part is that all the families are invited to watch the full ceremony via live cast. So we will have that available. We will have that link posted. So you're welcome to watch and not miss a thing. Next slide. Saturday afternoon, we do have our master's ceremony. I like to put this in here just because I know some undergraduates also have students who are also getting their master's degree. This event does happen on the College Green as well that afternoon. So even if you're popping by or just in the area, know that this is happening in that space. If you have your wristband on, you can certainly come and attend and get checked in. But this is an event that's happening right in the center of campus, which is really quite meaningful for the masters. Next slide. So now I'm moving over to Sunday, which is our really big day. There's a lot more logistics, I think, that are involved with Sunday that I like to talk about. And to kick it off, it's really the procession. So the procession is the weekend's most treasured moment. It certainly is for all of the students and alum who are marching in there. So there's thousands of alums, thousands of graduates marching through the Van Wickle gates. Again, they're only open twice a year. So the last time that they went through it was when they arrived here, and now they're opened again so that they can leave through here. The seniors do march from campus all the way down to the First Baptist Church to the college ceremony. And for guests, for all of you, you will be able to see all of this happening on the College Green. For safety and visibility, the procession route is reserved for marchers only. The best way is to experience this with one of our 4 big jumbotrons that are on the College Green. And of course, they're also a simulcast as well. Next slide, please. So where they're heading off to is the college ceremony, which happens at the First Baptist Church. Historically, this is where the first commencements happened for Brown University, so there's a lot of tradition here. This is the reason why they do confer their degrees in here. Again, the ceremony is for the graduates only, so they will be down at the grounds of the First Baptist Church. This is where they will flip their tassels, and again, guests will remain on the college green to watch the ceremony. Next slide, please. So this is my favorite part right here, is the return and the joining together on the green. So after that brief ceremony, so try not to go too far. So if you ever want to get food or anything, I think between that 10 and 12 time is a good time to mention. They do process for a long time. But at that point now, they're all heading back to the college green to reunite with everybody in the community there. So it's a truly celebratory atmosphere. There's bagpipes, there's the Brown Band. Even if you're not in your seat, you're going to hear it that you should be there. And everybody heads up on two sides, and they enter into the green to take their seats on the center part of the green, which has been reserved for them all day. So what I want to mention here is not to stress too much about where they're coming from. Everything that day is random. So when they line up in the morning, there's no specific order for them. When they go through the procession and through the gates, again, there's no specific order. And then when they're coming back and sitting up on the college green, it is all random still. Next slide, please. So the main event, the university ceremony, this is slated to happen around 1:15 p.m. It does last an hour, and it really is the finale on the college green. The ceremony includes two senior class orators, and those are our two speakers that speak to this huge, large audience. It's such a milestone for them, and they speak to a large captured audience, to their peers, and to all the families. In our program, we also honor all of the honorary degrees. And the whole event itself is really a symbolic conclusion of everybody coming together. So this isn't just for undergrads. This is also for medical students, doctoral students, master's students. It's for everybody in the whole community to come back together in a symbolic way. Next slide, please. And the final event, which is a departmental ceremony. So these are truly special. Estimated time is 2:30. So once that university ceremony is over, it's probably a good idea to have a way to connect with your graduate, a good place to meet up before heading to the ceremony. We do have 53 of them that happen all at once. So it really is a huge production. But everyone basically moves and scatters to all different areas of the campus. Every ceremony makes time depending on where they're going to, and where your event actually is happening for the departmental ceremony will be available on the commencement website. When the Brown U app is available, all of this information will be there too. So these events, they're smaller gatherings. They include short remarks by the faculty, and then there's usually a brief reception to follow, so you can connect with the faculty and whoever else has been part of your student's life. So I want to just mention that this typically goes until 4 or 5. It's dependent on the size of the ceremony. Some ceremonies are 25, some are 1,000. It certainly varies dependent on that. Next slide. Okay, so the insider's guide, so how to navigate the weekend like a pro. I want to give everyone some tips here. So next slide, please. So Sunday's tips for navigating the day. So please be early. I'm thinking 7:30 a.m. would be ideal to arrive there. I do want to mention that if we do arrive closer to the 9:30 time, the procession does kick off at 9:45. Unfortunately, you will get stuck in crowds and potentially miss the step off altogether. So really aim to be on the green by 9 a.m., like in your seat or in standing room only area. Just be sure to be there at that time. So the earlier, the better. And of course, the earlier you get there, the more chances you'll have a seat as well. The best view for Sunday is the Jumbotrons. We have 4 huge Jumbotrons that are on the green. You can see everything that's happening. We have cameras on the gates. We have cameras on the procession, cameras on the college ceremony, close-ups. That would definitely be the best view for everything. So not necessarily the streets or anything, just really watching from the college green. Want to just mention managing your energy. You can see this is a really, really full day, and this could potentially feel like a lot for some folks here, or some family members that you're thinking about. So really just manage your energy, and I guess manage your expectations and what you need. And I think you can do that also just by packing a water bottle, packing a snack, having some sunscreen, a phone charger, and knowing what's available to you. So we have shaded areas, we have simulcast locations. So if you get hot or if there's drizzly rain, you can head inside somewhere. But just kind of manage your expectations that it will be a long day and to try to be as comfortable as possible. Next slide. Settling in and seating on the green. Again, that best entry point, and what I like to call the main entrance, is that Thayer Street gates via the Simmons Quad area. So again, that will be there as a map available to you all on the Commencement website, which will be helpful. The Waterman and the George Street gates, which intersects with a lot of the procession routes, those are very, very congested, and that's where I'm trying to avoid everyone from coming over there, because that's where some bottlenecks can happen if you arrive late. Have your wristbands ready. So just a reminder, smart wristbands are really required for everyone, ages 5 or up, to enter in the seating area. So please try to have those available starting on Friday. Just keep them on. I've been hearing through the grapevine they last like 5 washes or 5 showers. So they are nice and they're a nice quality. So keep those on, and that's my biggest tip for today. Seating is first come basis. It is open. To keep things fair, we do require that you're physically present to hold any seat. So what I've seen in the past sometimes is families will come super early, right at 7 a.m., and they'll put swag on about 20 seats, but nobody's there. So we do have people looking out for that, to be fair. Just note that a wristband also doesn't necessarily like equate a seat. So there's no assigned seating. Everything is open. It's pretty organic. And if seats do fill up, there is plenty of standing room available. Okay, next slide, please. So planning your stay, housing and dining. I'm sure many of you have already thought about hotels or have figured that out, but most do require a 3-night minimum. Everything does fill up very, very fast. There are a lot of nearby cities that do accommodate help too. So that's in Warwick and Smithfield. So they're not too far. Rhode Island is very small. So we joke here that things are too far away if they're 10 minutes away, but that's not necessarily true. So look everywhere else, and you'll be able to find something. If dorm room is what you're looking to do and experience, guest housing is available. Mid-April, I'm sure Mikkel will put it in the chat, but those will be available on the Residential Life website. So keep your eyes open if you want to have a dorm room experience stay. Dinner plans, just a tip. Again, those departmental ceremonies can end anytime between 4 and 5 p.m. That's with the reception included. So try to make your dinner plans as soon as possible. This way, you're probably going to be a little hungry at this point. So try to go ahead and get that reservation in so you have a nice plan to get there and celebrate for the graduate. And quick bites, we do have a lot of spaces. There's a lot of areas to eat anywhere all over campus. In retail areas, but on that College Green area, we do have indoor locations, dining locations. We have a couple of concession tents and carts and things like that. So a lot of little areas for grab and go and some quick bites. Next slide, please. So getting to campus, some navigation tips. If you are going to drive to campus and park in one of the many large parking lots that we do have available, try to at least be there by 8:30 a.m. The latest. So again, I try to be there way before that, but 8:30 is kind of that hard deadline. The reason why I say that is because a lot of the streets close around 8:30 a.m. So things really get a little jammed up there, and then the gates everything starts stopping at 9:30 to kick off for the procession. Most university lots are open for free guest parking starting at 5 p.m. So if you're staying in a dorm and you want to park starting at 5 o'clock on that Friday, that might be a great plan for you. But we do also have a lot of downtown shuttles that are 1 to 3 minutes away from many of the hotels that you can jump on, and we also have many campus shuttles as well that will take you to from other locations to the main drop-off area. If you're looking for accessible travel, we do have drop-off passes available that will be on our website. Anyone can go and print this off. And what this will allow you to do during this time in the morning until 8:30, you'll be able to drive into this area, kind of put your car in park for a few minutes, allow some of your guests to drop off, and then you're only a block away from the College Green. And then if that person wants to go and take a ride to park in a nearby area, that's an option as well. And again, I talked about the shuttle service. So we have downtown options, we have campus options. It's pretty robust. So that's probably my biggest hint, is to try to use that and, skip all the foot traffic and all that fun stuff. Next slide. Okay, preparing for success. So next slide, I'd love to talk about this to see how we can help each other make this all happen in a seamless way. So again, starting in early April, students must register themselves and their guests by May 1. So they will be communicated to directly. They are the ones that will receive the confirmation email. They're the ones that will receive the QR code that they'll have to go to a kiosk at certain points to print those off. So really the responsibility lies in their hands. Something to know is the guest list. They can go into the portal as many times as they need to register folks, but they do need their names to do so. So it's good to have their guest list ready. So I would say if we can start working on that now to identify who's coming, that would be great. And then pick up for these scannable wristbands. Start the grad fair on May 7th, and that's when they pick up their regalia. We will have some additional times available to them, so it's not all just happening on one day, but May 7th is just a day to remember. That's when majority will be picking up those physical wristbands. Next slide. So how you can help us, if you can remind them, just kind of, did this get done? Do they need any more names? Help them identify their guest list, talk through that with them. That would be great. Remind them to unwrap their gown and hang it out and get all the wrinkles out. So that's just, something that I think we still all have to do, with our kids. Day of, ensure that they're headed to the lineup by 9:30. So they have to be in full cap and gown and a wristband. The procession moves fast. So if there's any breakfast plans or anything beforehand, they do need to be at that staging area at the latest by 9:30 a.m. It's totally okay if they can pack a snack. They do have pockets, so they can pack a snack. Just be aware too that they are walking a lot. So definitely a footwear check for everyone across the board, but they do have access to water and restrooms when they're lining up. They have access to water when they get to the college ceremony. And of course, there's access to water when they come back to the university ceremony. They all have water bottles under their seats. So they do have water. And then of course, there's emergency waters too, but those are in place to help them throughout their procession. Next slide. Storm plan, my least favorite slide of all, but in only severe weather conditions. So commencement reunion weekend happens rain or shine, even in heavy rain. So just be prepared for that. This is an outdoor event. If the weather deems severe and dangerous, the procession will be canceled. The wristbands will be voided. The ceremonies will then be live streamed. There'll be brown alert messages that will be available, and all the updates for next steps are going to be listed on the commencement.brown.edu website. Next slide. Quickly, just some resources. I know Mikkel's going to definitely put these in the chat and to follow up, but the commencement website always has a breadth of information. I know I keep on saying April, but we're really almost at April, and there's going to be a lot of information coming up in the next week or so. The Brown U app is available to be downloaded in May, and I'd probably say that's the best place to find out a full breadth of all the information I'm sorry, all the events and information that are happening over the weekend. We do have welcome stations on the college green, so those are set up all weekend long. So if you have questions on site, any sort of need, we have a lot of help there who can be there to assist you. Really detailed questions, thoughts, anything that you need help navigating with, email the commencement@brown.edu. Again, my team is behind that email, and we respond to everything. So please, if you have a question, email us, and we are here to help you. Ticketing, I know I talked a lot about ticketing and wristbands, so please, that is updated on the website, so feel free to review that again. Just know that the departmental ceremonies, that site's going to be up to, that's going to be a really helpful site as well once it's uploaded, because it's going to show the location. And then if any of those events require ticketing, that will all be included there too. And then, of course, the Providence Board of Conventions and Visitors Bureau. This is if you're trying to make, there's tons of fun stuff to do in Providence and Rhode Island, especially that time of year. It's beautiful. There's hotel information, so great resource to kind of look around and see what's available to you while you're spending some time off. Next slide. Okay, so Mikkel, I went through everything, and I'm sure we have lots of questions, so I will open it back up to you.
Mikhail, you're muted. I'm sorry.
Thanks, Kay. You'd think I know that by now. So, Meg, I'm going to give you a second to take a breath, maybe a sip
Thank you.
of
I'm gonna have a
water.
little sip of water.
There were a few questions that came through from a few different people that I just wanted to address that a lot of folks have asked for the slides. We will share the slides with everybody. We'll email them out to you when the recording is ready with a link to the recording as well. So you can get those slides and the recording. And Meg shared the commencement@brown.edu email address, but you can also send questions to family@brown.edu for me if it's commencement adjacent, or I can always get you to the commencement folks. All right, Meg, are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. We had some, I think, pre-planned questions, but I'm going to pivot to some that came through in the Q&A.
Okay.
One that came through from a lot of people is a bag policy. Is there a bag policy? Is there a certain size bag that people have to bring, or it has to be under a certain size? Does it have to be a clear bag? There were a lot of bag questions.
Okay, that's a great question. So the bag policy will be listed. All bags will be subject to inspection. So they will all be subject to inspection. We will have different queuing lanes, if you will. So if you do have a clear bag or no bag, you will have a more direct access to the main green. I think what we're looking at and will be checked are like the large bags, backpacks, suitcases. I would say no suitcases. All of this will be listed out. So if you have time to go get a clear bag, which I know a lot of sports venues, like I know athletics here, like it's a clear bag policy. Please try to get one, and that will definitely give you some quicker access. Smaller bags too, same thing. No bag, even better, but it's a long day, so I completely understand needing a few things. But yeah, so they're all subject to inspection, Mikkel. We will have bag checkers on site, and just to kind of keep in mind of if for faster access, you can plan accordingly.
Yeah, and we did have a lot of questions about whether there's food and beverage available on the green, and there is. So you can pack fairly light for the day.
Yeah, definitely.
Another question we had was, about the 8 ticket limit. So, is it a hard limit for 8 tickets for the ceremony?
So technically, no. It's a very, very strong suggestion. So we recommend 8. However, your graduate can get more tickets than 8 tickets. So if you have 10 tickets, 12, they are able to register accordingly. Obviously on the back end, we're looking at all of that data as we're receiving it. So, I know in years past, it's been a little bit less, but try to keep with the 8. It's a very strong recommendation. But they are able to get more in the portal if needed. So hopefully that's helpful.
Yeah.
There's a lot of space on the college green and the greens. There's a lot of space. We want to, keep it available.
Yeah. Somebody asked if they could sit on the grass, and they
Yeah.
can.
Mm-hmm.
Lots of people do. There are some questions about how students get their regalia and when that is.
Yes. So May 7th, the Brown Bookstore puts on a full grad fair. So it's a full event. They advertise it. That's where, and that's the day that they are really picking up their regalia. They also receive a little printout that's some helpful information on how they can prepare for the day. More links to kind of get to more information that could be helpful for them on the website. And that is also the day that we're working with for them to pick up their wristbands as well in a few different locations. So they're able to, basically pick up everything, get some more information that they need to prepare for the day. And then last but not least, pick up those wristbands for themselves and their families and to keep them in a safe, secure spot.
Okay. Are there bathrooms on the green?
Yes, there's lots of bathrooms. We have indoor restrooms. There's a lot of buildings that are going to be available for simulcast locations too. So if you're not interested in staying out in the sun anymore, you can certainly head into one of the larger spaces for that. There's restrooms all around. We also have restroom trailers and try to accommodate for the many people that are there.
All right, Meg, I'm going to put you on the spot.
Okay.
How many, and I'm not sure if you know this or not, but it's a good question. How many chairs are put on the green?
Thank you. There's about 14,000 that are put on the green. Typically, and that's just the center green. So we have spaces, across the span, but about anywhere between 14 and 15,000.
All right. And I love this question because it's brown. Is there a dress code for graduation?
Oh, that's such a great question. So there's not a dress code at all. I mean, if you ask me, I've walked campus so many times. I've been here during the rain and during, super sunny days. There's cobblestones, there's you name it, it's happening. So I would really just recommend great shoes that are comfortable. So that would be my number one. But there's no dress code. I've seen very casual and to very, very elaborate. I think it's whatever feels right and feels comfortable for you as you celebrate the day.
Yeah, I think dressing for comfort, whatever makes you feel good, that is, and I have seen it all. That's one of my favorite things about commencement day is checking out what everybody's wearing. It's so great. Okay, so a lot of questions about saving seats.
Yes.
Do you have to be there? Can you put things down? And then a lot from alums who are saying, okay, we're marching, but in the procession as alums for our reunion, but we also want to sit. Can you address how that all works? Saving seats.
Saving seats. So yeah, so save because it's first come, first basis. It's like when you have a reservation, is the whole party here type thing. So I think it's just being fair to allowing your whole party to sit down. Otherwise, I think a lot of people would save tons of chairs and then let them go. So we really need everybody together as much as possible. If you do have, 5 people out of the 6 there and you're saving the one, that's not something that we're going to worry about. I think what we're really trying to message here is that one person can't show up at 7, the rest of the party of 10 all come, at 9 o'clock or so, and then they're holding all the seats. So we really just want to be fair and be courteous to one another. So it's great if we could just make it a family event and everybody comes together as much as possible. But for example, if someone's using the drop-off pass, so say, you know, my sister is going to, take my mom here and so forth. So there's a couple seats over here. That's reasonable. I think it's more for those who are trying to save a lot of seats.
Yeah. Um,
Did I answer the question about the alum part?
yeah, I think so. And I think that is, um, sort of part of the whole weekend that there are choices you have to make. And it's,
Mhm.
um, marching in the procession does make it a little trickier for seating, but it's also a wonderful way to experience it if you're an alum and it's your reunion. So
Right.
there's different ways to do this, right?
Yeah.
I don't want to miss these questions about folks who are elderly or
Mm.
require additional accommodations and how they're getting around. Can you talk about the shuttle system and the drop-off pass a little bit more, and say if you were bringing an elderly relative, how would you address that when you were planning the weekend?
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. We do have a few different options. Um, talking about the shuttle system and what's available there, we do have two downtown shuttle stop locations to kind of accommodate for the main areas in the downtown area, so that there's a 1 to 4 minute walk between all of them to these locations. And there will be an ADA shuttle available within that loop. So if you're looking to go right from your hotel right to a shuttle stop and get dropped off, that could be a possibility. Um, we also offer, if you do have a state issued reserved tag, there will be a registration process that will be available in the next week or so, where you can register for a specific parking lot that's basically a block away from the main area, and that will give you your parking just for you, starting at Friday at 5 p.m. That area also has, multi-passenger shuttles at certain points at the busy areas on Saturday and Sunday. And then those shuttle carts can also bring people who, may have a hard time, walking from point A to point B, or just really tired at that point, to assist with that. So that's the accessibility parking lot that they would have to register for. There's a drop-off pass, which we've talked about, which anybody can print and use that zone to kind of coordinate whether they're parking on site, or also just trying to get people in their family closer to the main area. I think what's really important to coordinate is we do have an accessibility shuttle that people can pre-register their rides for. So if you've already identified that you're going to need help, you can pre-register rides. There's going to be a direct phone number, and you can change that over the weekend too. So if, even if someone sprains their ankle at campus dance, let's just say hypothetically, we don't want that to happen, but say that happens, you can call the accessibility shuttle and they can get you from point A to point B. So there are a few options. Last option too, we have large parking lots that are on campus, and even a little bit further away from campus, but still on campus, where in those routes as well are some accessible shuttles that can get you closer to the main area.
Great, Meg, thank you. And I would encourage folks, if you have a really specific situation, to email for additional information, because like I said, there's a few different ways to approach this. But yes, driving on Sunday is a
Mhm.
challenge, even for those of us who do it every day. Um,
Yes.
we've had a lot of questions about the departmental ceremonies.
Yeah.
And can you talk about how those differ from each other, and then how
Mm.
folks figure out what tickets are available for them for those ceremonies?
Yes, so there will be, I think the biggest difference between everything that happens over the weekend and the departmental ceremony is, in the departmental ceremony is when the student will cross the stage. That's when you'll hear their name called. That's at that reception, that's where you'll be able to connect, if you would like to, or if your student would want you to, with their faculty or chair, or their friends. So it's definitely a more intimate gathering for each group. They are driven by each concentration. So depending on what they choose, if they're concentrating in multiple things, they do have to just choose one. And so that's the purpose of those moments. So it's definitely more intimate. In terms of ticketing, on the departmental ceremony site where everything is, all the locations will be listed out for each ceremony. In addition to that, there'll be a note there whether or not this specific event requires tickets. And so that will be there. If it does, you would work directly with your student so they can work with their academic partner to figure that out. So departmental ceremonies are very much a separate event from what's happening on the college green. So definitely not only like two different experiences, but also each experience within each 53 of them is also different too. So they're treated separately. Have your student work directly with that academic department to identify what's needed. But on the commencement website, there'll be a column that very clearly states whether or not additional tickets are needed or not.
Okay. And some questions about, do students need to know the name of every single person who's coming with them? Do they have to have 8 names when they sign up? And also, are these wristbands transferable if, say, something changes?
Great question. So they're not transferable. They are attached to a person's name. So to your first question, they do need all of the details. The positive to that is if they go into the portal and they only have 4 names, they can go back in and add in the other 3. They just have to do it by May 1st. So they'll have like a good month to map this out. So they do need all the information, and the wristbands are not transferable.
And what if somebody either forgets their wristband or they don't connect with their student and they don't have them? Is there a way to get them last minute?
So there will be some help desks at the intersections of where those entry points are that will be available if you don't have a wristband, and at that time you would be turned to one of those to get to work to get that wristband figured out. So again, I hope that doesn't happen. If anything, I say today, please try to get those wristbands on you by the latest on Friday. But if it does happen, we do have a plan to assist if needed at a nearby help desk.
So a lot of folks have asked about simulcasts and how to watch certain things, and I've sent them answers that, the main ceremonies, including the baccalaureate, are live streamed. You can see it on the commencement webpage, and there's also some simulcast locations. But a lot of folks are asking about the departmental ceremonies. Are they all live streamed?
So they're not all live streamed. Many of them are, especially over the last few years, more have asked for live streaming to help with their audience who can't come and can't be part of it in person. So I will say there's been an increase in live streams amongst the departmental ceremony community. In terms of whether or not they do it is at their discretion. So they get to choose based on, whatever they need. And they hear these things from their students, this part of my family can't come, my friends are so and so. And so they take everything into account and then they make that happen. So, yeah.
Yeah, I would encourage parents, if you have your student home with you for break right now,
Mm,
to, just encourage them to check with their departments, especially double concentrators are going to have to pick which ceremony they're going to be in. So this is where the student really needs to sort of drive the experience. So definitely reinforce that with them before they come back to campus. Um, Meg, you have so many questions. Let's see. Let's see. We have a lot about parking and where they can find parking information.
Yes, so it'll be there like in a week. I feel like we're just like a week early, but it's going to be there in a week. What's going to be listed out is the brown parking lots that will be open. So that will be helpful when looking at a map and figuring out the coordinates with GPS. We also will have all of the shuttle information available too, like where each shuttle is kind of coming from and where those downtown stops are as well. I do suggest using the shuttles as much as possible, and those parking lots that are a bit further away from the main campus. There are a ton of road closures, as you can imagine, with this size event. So road closures change, sometimes hour by hour. And so it's really, if I can give any advice, just kind of if you can, work yourself on the perimeter and take the shuttles to come in, and so forth. So that will all be listed.
Oh, and we had a question about housing in dorms. You touched on that a little bit. You want to talk a little bit more about dorm housing options for families?
Yes, yeah, definitely. So if that experience interests you, on the Residential Life website, which I don't know, Mikhail, if you could put that in the chat, but that will be opening up in mid-April. Right now, they already have information that you can go through there, but those reservations open up in mid-April. There is limited amounts there, so that too is on a first come basis. So if that's of interest to you, keep in mind that mid-April is when that's going to happen.
All right, I just put that in the chat.
Great.
Let's see. What else do we have? Oh, so about access to the green. We had one person who was asking, if they've come in on Friday and they want to do some pictures, but they don't have their wristbands yet, could they do that? Is it just Sunday that they need those wristbands, or is it every day?
Okay, that's an awesome question. So Friday Campus Dance is really the only main event, if you will, that's happening on that green. That event you need to purchase tickets for, and that ticket is what's going to get you in and out of that event. So I do again suggest to have your wristband on, but we're not going to necessarily need it to get it into that event. You need your actual ticket for that event. Other than that, the green is, if you will, free access during, so if you show up and you're looking around, you're going to see a lot of setup that day, that's for sure. But you're welcome to walk around the green and just kind of take it all in. On Saturday, the event that is scannable, if you will, and you need a wristband for, is the master ceremony. So starting at 1:30 that afternoon, you're going to start needing to use your wristbands at that point until about 6 o'clock or so, 6:30, and then it will open back up. So during any like security moments or during the scanning of the tickets for a specific event, but everything else around that will be open. Sunday, I would say, is the longest day you need it. So you need a wristband to get in at 7 a.m. No one will have access to the green before that. So 7 a.m. is when you can get in with the wristbands up until 3 p.m. So the short answer is I would just have it on. So it's just a universal type situation. So I would just have it on. Because if you are walking by on Sunday and you want to just kind of pop in to see what's going on, or if your students like, oh, you have to check out what's going on over here, like in this building, I want to show you this, it's best to just have it on for you. And then Sunday, of course, it's 100% required at all times.
All right. We're getting close to the end here. And I think I just want to reiterate to folks that this isn't the last you'll be hearing about commencement. You'll get a lot of emails with additional information. Your students will get even more information. And you also have us as resources. Again, if you have specific questions, you can reach out at family@brown.edu or commencement@brown.edu. Like I said, we're going to post the recording and make the slides accessible as well. For those folks who had questions about campus dance tickets and reunions and alums walking, I would really recommend checking with the reunion office. You should have been contacted by them, especially if it's your reunion year. Now, as we wind up, Meg, do you want to give like a final top tips for enjoying the weekend?
Sure. Yes, I think my top tips would be work with your student, just work with them on building out your itinerary, figure out what's important to them, what's important to you, and figure out where you want to go, and what you want to experience that weekend. Second tip is just to please get that wristband in play and have it on starting on Friday. So that's my second tip. My other tip is, I would probably say just really, it is an outdoor event. It's a journey. It's a long day on Sunday, but it's so worth it. and really just try to stay in the moment and I don't know, just enjoy what's taking place here for you all. I think it's amazing and congratulations. So just enjoy the moment and have fun.